I am Dakota Layden from Destination Fear.
And I am Tanner Wiseman.
I'm Chelsea Layden, Dakota Layden's sister.
And I am Alex Schrader.
Okay. So please tell us a little bit about the show and how you got involved with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long journey to get to this point. Growing up together, everyone's been friends since pretty much day one. And one of our hobbies growing up was finding haunted, creepy, abandoned buildings in Minnesota where we lived. And we did that in middle school and high school on our weekends. It was just a fun, like, let's go. If the internet said it was haunted or if someone told us it was haunted, we were there. And we did it long enough to kind of run out of places. And after high school and kind of into college, we realized, like, man, like, it'd be so fun to do a road trip and go check out places in different states that we've never seen. And it slowly kind of turned into this Destination Fear thing, and we actually shot a documentary about 5 years ago that is Destination Fear. It's the same concept, but yeah, I mean, it all started from passion. It all started from just us being friends and having a common bond.
Yeah, so now we travel the country. We go to the most haunted, abandoned places. Only one of us knows where we're going. Mm-hmm. One person is the ringleader for the entire night, and we explore the scariest places that we can possibly get into. And at the very end of the night, we decide the 4 scariest places in that building. We draw out of a hat, and that is where you go sleep for the rest of the night. Yeah.
I think they got it covered.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
It's interesting though, because it's like, we don't consider ourselves investigators. There's a lot of shows out there who are, and we're just not at that level. We're more explorers and professional scaredy cats, is what we call ourselves. But it's interesting, like, we enjoy the paranormal, like, we like, that's the draw, is going to these places where people say they saw a woman in white on the 3rd floor. But it's definitely about fear. We try to do things every episode, like sleeping alone, like Tanner shackling us to jail cells to intensify the fear. And it's kind of turned into this wild experiment where you really don't know what's going to happen next.
Why do we do it?
Yeah.
We do this because we are adrenaline junkies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, just being scared, that adrenaline, like, really draws us back to these locations.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, Chelsea said it best one time. Like, when you watch a horror movie, you kind of regret it and you're scared, but then a week later you're like, man, I want to watch another horror movie. And that's how this is. It's like you do it and it's kind of crappy in the moment, but then a couple days later you're like, man, I missed that.
It's like being nervous going in, but you want to challenge yourself to see, go ahead and scare me. Can you do it?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
Okay. So how did you go from your documentary to, did you have to approach networks, or did they approach you, or how did that all come about?
Good question.
It was a long process. I think we were really young. We had a sizzle reel pilot based off of the documentary, and yeah, we did pitch it around as best we could, being just out of high school from Minnesota. But it actually got into some big hands. Like, MTV was actually looking at it, and it was looking good. But eventually no one wanted it, no one really picked it up, and we went on about a 2-year break where, I mean, we were all friends and hanging out and doing things, but nothing happened with it, so we kind of just put it on the back burner. And then randomly one day, it was literally like that, where randomly we just got a call from Travel Channel who had seen that sizzle somehow from years ago, and they were interested. And I was like, okay, I guess they want it.
Yeah. There's a funny background story to that is, we all, the boys lived together, not me, we all lived together, and we were going to start doing music videos and start doing some other film career stuff. So we started looking up artists that we wanted to do music videos for. And all of a sudden Dakota came into the room and goes, hey guys, stop researching. We need to stop looking at music and start looking at scary locations, because our documentary just got picked up for a TV show.
It was literally like that. Like,
Yeah.
You guys were working hard in the office, and just like that, one phone call and everything changed.
Yeah.
That's great. So when you go to your locations, I'm curious about how the research, because I'm sure you obviously research and say what looks good. Do you have people hitting you up saying, I'm sure with the show now, you probably have people saying, oh, you got to come here, but then it's got to be tricky to vet it. So how do you know that it's legitimately worth your time? And you must have so many options of places to go to. I mean, how do you whittle down the list?
Well, I mean, I will say we preferably like to go to like asylums, sanitariums, prisons, or hospitals. It's kind of our core. That's what's always scared us growing up. And so it is actually hard sometimes because the state owns a lot of these places and they don't allow people in. But Luckily, it is a show, and we do have other people helping us, so like if Chelsea finds a hospital she really wants, she has someone from our staff she can send it to that will kind of vet it and like call ahead and make sure that it is even available to be filmed at. So we are lucky, we have a little extra help. But I mean, the actual process, yeah, there's so many options and it's a lot of pressure, especially for you guys, because every road trip they get a choice. And I mean, I know now, after experiencing it, you guys do not mess around with that choice.
No.
I do find it interesting though, because you guys had a giant, like this was like how many years ago? Like almost a decade ago. You guys had an entire U.S. map on that went across the entire wall of Dakota's room, and there was hundreds of little pins that were color coordinated based on like fear level. This was like years ago.
Gold was gold, and red was okay, and blue was like, this is a maybe, and
We could look at it.
So safe to say that you guys have been technically researching for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I think though one of the big things that we can all agree on when we're vetting these places is just the size, because of the fact that we do separate and sleep alone at the end of each night. We don't want to be close to each other. Like, well, we do, but we can't. We can't be close to each other because then, you know, it's just it's not as scary when you can hear Tanner talking to the camera. You know, it's just.
you want to be separated.
Yeah, and we're all best friends, so we know that everyone is going to try to bring their A game. So if we only get one pick for the road trip, we want it to be one of the best ones we can possibly pick.
Okay, so I have to ask a curveball question here, and I hope it's not too far out of left field. What do your family, and when you go meet someone, what is kind of the common reaction that you get when you say, this is what I do?
So you're a Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
To be fair though, there are so many people who, whether they believe in paranormal or not, have a story
Yes.
that they can't explain. So
Yeah.
a lot of the times part of that first conversation is someone kind of talking to you and all of a sudden kind of leaning in and saying, okay, I gotta tell you something.
Yeah, totally.
I gotta tell you this story.
Oh, it definitely would be an icebreaker, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I know, like with our family too, like at first, it's gotten better now, but at first, like our family was definitely worried about us. Like the first season when we went out and filmed, it was a constant barrage of texts. Like, I had a nightmare about you guys. Are you guys okay? I'm like, don't tell me that. At first, it was tough to like. I mean, it's because it's not like we're just going to one haunted place and then we go home. It is a genuine road trip. So we're on the road for about 2 months sometimes, and it's 8 to 10 places. So like it's nonstop insanity, and yeah. So our family does worry.
Yeah, but they've all been so supportive
Oh,
throughout this
gosh.
whole entire process. Like, it's almost unreal.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here without them. That's for sure.
Do you have a crew with you and stuff, or is it mainly just you, the four of you doing?
For the overnights, yeah, we have nobody. It's literally just us four. When we're actually in the locations filming the overnight is what we call it. It's just us four.
Yeah.
And
It's a whole night.
we made sure that was the case
Yeah.
because, I mean, I know there was a time where they wanted to maybe have like a security person
Yeah.
to be safe, and we were like, no, like we want to be that, we want to be scared. I mean, if we know that there's anyone else on the property, it's just gonna take away the fear.
Yeah, the second you hear a noise, you're just gonna blame it on the person who's
Yeah.
in the building with us. So that was definitely one of the main goals, is to be able to walk this building, or all these buildings, by ourselves.
So we self-document everything. It's all the footage and all the things you see for the overnight, it's just from our 4 cameras. Our audio comes from our cameras. We don't have an audio guy.
And I think that's really important, because you know it's not staged, you know there's
Yeah.
not someone watching your back, so it's an authentic reaction.
Exactly.
We even go as far as, so we travel the country in an RV the whole entire time, and as soon as we get to the location and we walk out of the RV, it takes off and leaves. So even if we wanted to leave, the most we can do is sit outside.
Which we have done before.
We have done that, where we just left the building and sat outside the rest of
Just
the night.
waited for a couple hours.
And I'm guessing you kind of have a rule, you don't prank each other when you're on location or anything like that.
Well, you would be wrong, my friend.
Ask her what
I
her
was
favorite
being
thing to do is.
sarcastic, of course.
Chelsea,
She is literally the queen of this.
yeah, she will
It's
come
so
on
annoying
walkie.
sometimes.
You'll be like alone in a building, and all of a sudden you'll be just kind of scared, and from your walkie you'll hear, "How's it going, Dakota?"
It's a walkie check. You know?
Yeah,
I gotta make sure
9 times a night.
Yeah, make sure it works, huh?
Gotta make sure you guys are okay.
I mean, normally I used to think having a walkie would be like a safe haven, like you'd be able to talk to someone when you get scared, but now it's like the worst thing to be with because you know at some point Chelsea or someone is going to be just screaming into it to freak you out.
To be fair, the first
To be fair.
original walkie checks were genuine walkie checks, and then I realized how much the fans loved it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And so now,
But you love it.
and I loved it.
Why? Even growing up, like, it was always the same. You'd walk into your bedroom and all of a sudden Chelsea pops out of your closet like, ah!
Yeah.
So many times you just, behind that like cabinet in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her spot.
Guys, we love fear.
Yeah, we
Fear.
do.
Yeah.
We love fear.
Now, I know obviously the pandemic makes this difficult, but have you ever had thoughts about locations in Mexico or Canada or potentially overseas? Are there like locales that you say, someday this is where we're going?
Well, it's actually really fascinating because we actually have shot over 70% of our show now in COVID, which is so weird because before COVID, I don't know, it's just weird to think that, but we did in the new season, we went to Ireland for the last 2 episodes.
Oh, nice.
And that's actually coming out, December 25th is the last one, end of mid-December on Discovery Plus and Travel
14th
Channel.
and 24th, I think.
And
Give or take
it's
a bit.
so awesome. Like, we've all been wanting to do that our whole lives, and to go to Ireland with over several thousand years of history at some of these places, it was just a whole different experience.
And now that we've gotten a taste, we have all decided, like, we definitely want to start going to different countries, explore the entire world, because, like, every culture in this world has a ghost story, and we do want to explore that.
Scotland's got some interesting
Scotland.
places.
That's on like the
Yeah.
top of the
Next.
list for me is
Yeah.
going to Scotland, so be prepared. Go abroad.
We did a prison in Ireland called Spike Island Prison, and it's on its own island. It's 4 times the size of Alcatraz, and it's about 4 times as old as Alcatraz too. And
Made me cry 4 times as hard.
Oh, that is
it was
fantastic.
not, it's definitely our best episode, but it's also the scariest.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank